Ladies and gentlemen, can I tell you a story? Is that okay? So my entire life changed when I asked myself a different question. And that question led to a different thought. And it's a thought I maintained for years until it took me to that different life and, ultimately to this stage in front of all you wonderful, good-looking people right now. As a question arose about 20 years ago. I was working and traveling in England, and I would work for 6 months to travel for 2 weeks. And I'd go to England and Spain and all around Europe, and I had a lot of fun. But I'm not very good at maths, folks. So to work for 6 months to go away for 2 weeks just didn't seem to make a great deal of sense to me. And so my burning question at that point in time was, who gets paid to travel? I want to do that. So that question consumed me for the next few years and led to a host of different behaviors and actions and habits and synchronicities and dead ends and opportunities. And then one absolutely blisteringly beautiful day, I was on the Great Barrier Reef getting paid to scuba dive for a travel show here in Australia, something I've been doing extraordinarily for the last 18 years. Now, this was mind-blowing to me because I knew unequivocally that this dreams thing is a thing. So then I went down the rabbit hole of the human mind and the potential and power of intentional thought, because the way in which my ridiculous, and I do mean ridiculous, dream rolled out was nothing short of magic, a Christmas miracle, if you will. And I now wholeheartedly believe that if you maintain a thought with energy for a period of time, then that event, circumstance, situation that you want in your life will actually transpire in your life. Weird? Maybe. Or maybe weird is the new normal. Or, as I found out, as many others have, weird is wonderful. So come on in, the water's fine. Of course, we've heard this sentiment before, haven't we? When you believe it, you'll see it. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. In fact, a laundry list of geniuses throughout our entire history have talked pointedly on this very subject. For example, Buddha. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Marcus Aurelius. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And possibly the poster child for geniuses in the modern era, ladies and gentlemen, Albert Einstein. Well, he knew a thing or two. He said, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. There is no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. We are energy. Our thoughts are energy, and so incredibly powerful. And I think intrinsically we all know this. You've all had that situation where you've thought of someone, and then you've seemingly moments later bumped into them, or they've texted or phoned you. You've gone, oh, that's weird. What if it's not? What if it's completely normal? What if we're far more powerful than we have ever imagined, or than we have ever led to believe? Or to take that further, what if, folks, our thoughts actually create our reality? You know, I think deep down, we just want it to be true, don't we? And I'd suggest deep, in a place we're only faintly aware of, we just know that is true. Because think for a moment, if you will, and just how powerful and magic humans are, and certainly it's hard to do so these days. Take, for instance, childbirth. Forget you know about childbirth if you can. In fact, come into my common sense corner for just a second. Watch your step. Forget you know that half the planet, for the most part, can bear other children. Stay with me on this one. So an alien comes down to Earth. All right. And he knows nothing about what's going on with the human race. He's on a fact-finding mission. Now, Ambassador for Earth goes up to them and tells them everything that we're about, what we've achieved, what our pursuits are, what we're capable of, who we are as a race. And then adds on, oh, by the way, this is quite cool. Half of us can create other humans. So see this lady over there, Carol, she's pregnant. So she's going to go about her day, walking, typing, chatting to friends, having a giggle, having a laugh, going to work, doing Carol things. And over the course of a 9-month period, without a thought whatsoever, from a single tiny cell, Carol will create nerves and sinews and synapses and 2 elbows and 2 knees and bones and eyes and teeth and all the things you need for a little beautiful baby to pop out that 9-month period. And the alien says, that's extraordinary. How do you do it? Well, what we do is, so we get we don't know, actually. If you didn't know that was a reality, it's the weirdest thing you've ever heard of. It's a miracle. Humans are so mind-bendingly remarkable, it's almost hard to process. And I wonder, is that our only trick? Is that the only mind-bending, can't wrap my head around how actually that happens trick of the human race? Doesn't seem to make a great deal of sense because, folks, if we can create life without a thought, surely we can create a beautiful life with one. And is there a chance, if we truly believe we could create something, a better job, a relationship, a better body, then by virtue of this supercomputer in our skull, we could actually create that desired outcome? You know, someone asked me a big head-scratching question once. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I like to pose it to all of you, if I may. What if you got to the end of your life and they showed you the movie of all the things you could have done if you just believed you could? What would that look like? If you took stock of all the aspects of your life, health, relationships, fun, adventure, family, friends, what would you intend in all those areas? What does your movie look like right now? What would you want it to look like? And more importantly, what would you have to believe for it to look that way? Because make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, we are the writer, producer, director, and of course, actor in our own life's movie. And if you don't like the way a scene, so to speak, is going, change it. But of course we can though, right? I mean, we can do some pretty crazy things. You know, there seems to be no glass ceiling to what humans can achieve. We're going higher, faster, year on year than we ever have before. Our abilities right now seem exponential in nature and a direct reflection of our own belief. As we believed more, we achieve more. You've seen what athletes are doing now. Dancers, your jaw drops. They defy the laws of physics. Certainly wasn't always this way. I'll take you back to a time where the belief wasn't as strong. I saw a little clip online of the 1920 Antwerp Olympics, and it's the final of the women's balance beam. And we see 4 women in pantaloons, athletic pantaloons, and they're on the beam, struggling, wobbling, barely hanging on. One lady seems to get a little roly-poly, and you look at it and you go, oh, what do they, oh, this is the final of the Olympics. And you go, oh, that's what they believed they could do at that point in time. We got better, of course. Notably, Nadia Comaneci twisting and twirling effortlessly through the air just a mere 60 years later. And then fast forward to the incomparable Simone Biles and all that she achieved. Now, I think for each of these women and their counterparts, of course, their achievement of the seemingly impossible was only made possible by one thing: their level of belief. They did because they believed they could. My point is, will future humans look at us and the way we don't think about thinking, the way we don't think and have intentional thought, like we're the 1920 balance beam of thought, wobbling, making it, life, look hard? Will they look at us seeing that we're not tapping into the unlimited potential, but instead trapped by our limited beliefs, and go, oh, look at those early humans. Look, they think that grinding away and hard work is how you achieve. Well, they're divided, tired, dissatisfied, depressed, not knowing it doesn't need to be this hard. They can actually create their own life's movie by virtue of their thoughts. That's a shame. What a missed opportunity. What if, then, we could be the Nadia Comaneci's of thought right now, flying effortlessly through life because we believe we can? No doubt, no fear, nothing but absolute certainty, taking us to a different outcome, a different life's movie. Yeah, I think one of the greatest examples of someone who had the clearest vision and had zero doubt and executed the most incredible achievements in their lifetime, the amazing Arnold Schwarzenegger. He became hugely successful in three different careers. Firstly, he wanted to be the most successful bodybuilder the planet has ever seen. 7 Mr. Olympia. He retired just to give someone else a go. And how about action movie star? Let's take you back. Here's this large, young man from a teeny tiny little town in Austria with a name like Schwarzenegger, with about 3 words of English to his name, I'll be back, and he wants to be the most bankable action movie star in America. He did it, just as he envisioned. And then in the 1970s, when he's kicking off his bodybuilding career in California, he got his first apartment, so he popped up a poster on the wall of a cowboy. And a mate of his comes over and goes, "Oh, Ronald Reagan." And Arnie goes, "You don't like that actor?" And his mate said, "Not as the governor of California." And Arnie asked a question which changed the trajectory of his life. He said, "You can be an actor and the governor of California?" And we all know how that panned out for the governor. Zero doubt, hugely successful in 3 different careers. The question is, folks, are we not tapping into the incredible potential of the human mind and intentional thought? Is there a chance that a different belief creates a different life? Worth having a think about thinking? Worth trying? Because Henry Ford said, if you believe you can, you're right. If you believe you can't, you're right. So what are your intentions? What thoughts, beliefs simply don't serve you anymore, maybe taking you to a life's movie you may not be super happy with at the end? And again, what does your movie look like right now? Are you happy? You satisfied? I don't mean to sound dramatic. I certainly hope so. What would you want it to look like? What change would you make if you just believed you could? What small change can make the greatest difference in your life and certainly the life of everyone around you? It all starts with a thought and a belief that change is real. A different question, a different thought, different action, behavior, habit, outcome, different life. Weird? Maybe. Maybe weird is, or certainly should be, the new normal. Step into my common sense corner one last time, everyone. Come on. Because if we can create life without a thought, surely we can create a magnificent life with one. And the answer to that, ladies and gentlemen, well, it changes everything. Thank you so much.